answer. She sacked him. A great bull rush by Chris Jones.
When it gets tough, you know, he's going to be there battling. The players appreciate it.
The Chiefs put the hammer down with a 34-yard touchdown pass. The 10, still not down. Oh, what a run out of this world. Falls up to 20, 10, 5, touchdown.
For the 8th consecutive season, we give you a Chiefs Rewind celebrating an AFC West championship as the Chiefs beat the Bengals 25-17. Yeah, heck yeah. Live studio audience. Mitch Holthus with you, voice of the Chiefs, along with senior team reporter Matt McMullen. Let's start with the way that we kind of ended on Field Pass and the way I ended the radio start to the broadcast, and the fact that I said if the Chiefs are going to celebrate an 8th consecutive AFC West title, it will be on the shoulders of the offensive line. We don't talk about them enough. They came out on fire in this game.
Yeah, they set the tone throughout this game, facing one of the better defensive lines in all of football, with Trey Hendrickson on the other side. A guy with 72 pressures this year, 10th most in the NFL. 16 sacks this year, 2nd most in the NFL. Didn't matter to the Chiefs' offensive line. They brought the fight throughout this game and paved the way for the best day of Isaiah Pacheco's young career.
Let's talk about that day. In the first half alone, he had 123 of the 163 total yards. Pacheco had almost all of them, including the touchdown, which was outstanding. A route that the Chiefs have used with McKinnon, but they haven't used a whole lot with Isaiah Pacheco for the TD.
So we joke around about that. Mitch and I love playing NCAA 14, the old college football game on our Xbox 360s. Well, that route works every single time.
Every time.
In the game. It worked in real life here tonight. What a game for Isaiah. Of course, a touchdown catch, but also on the ground. 130 rushing yards here in this one. Once again, a career high. That included runs of 35 yards and 37 yards. He set the tone throughout this game. He was awesome.
We're going to talk about the defense a little bit later, but let's talk about Harrison Butker, one of the greatest performances in Chiefs history. The fact that he gets 18 points. Think about that. That's 3 possessions worth of points on 6 made field goals, and these were not easy makes for the most part. Harrison Butker has been phenomenal this year in many ways. The best year a Chiefs kicker's ever had.
Yeah. Now, did the Chiefs want to finish red zone drives with touchdowns? Yes, but you still need some points on those drives if you're not going to get a touchdown, and that's where Harrison was money all night long. He had conversions of 54 yards, 43 yards, 27 yards, 24 yards, 48 yards, and 46 yards. He was awesome throughout this game. Great stuff from Harrison Butker. And think about this. The Chiefs were down 10 points at one point in the first half. Wasn't looking great for the Chiefs at that point. Well, they rattle off 18 unanswered points the rest of the way, and that was all Harrison Butker.
And Rashee Rice, 127 yards receiving, include the longest play of the year of 67 yards. Again, we're going to talk defense because the play of the game in many ways was the stop by Willie Gay Jr. on 4th and 1 at the 6-yard line. But with Rice, amazing. And for him to get and to become such a weapon for this team will be needed as we go into the playoffs.
Yeah, 5 catches for 127 yards. This is exactly what we were hoping Rashee could be this season. When we first drafted him out of SMU, we were seeing a young player grow into a star before our eyes and getting hot at the perfect time. Chiefs
win the AFC West. We're going to talk defense, I guarantee you, but now let's go to the podium.
All right. Listen, what a game. And our fans were unbelievable, loud. They started the New Year's early, I think, but it was impressive. Great win to get against a good football team. Zach does a heck of a job with that team, and they were battling through some injuries early, but you saw their quarterback is a good player. For a young guy to be able to step in for a great player like that and do what he did was impressive. I was very proud of our coaches, the offense and defensive coach, special teams. Everybody contributed in this thing, which I think was great. And as you saw, nobody gave up hope. I mean, it wasn't the smoothest early, but the guys battled through, and they supported each other. And so that's a positive. And then there were a bunch of individual things. You got to start with Butker and 6 field goals. 6 field goals. That was incredible, and these just weren't little chip shots. I mean, these were like real field goals. So, and then Willie had a huge play in there, which was great to see. Rice with the big catch. The O-line and D-line just came with a certain attitude and took charge there. D-line had 6 sacks, I think it was. Excuse me, had 6 sacks, which was, or 7, so whatever it was a lot of sacks mixed in there. They did great. Richie James with the punt return did a heck of a job with that. So, listen, I can keep going through guys, but all in all, it was a good game to get. It was great to have the guys have a championship. With the AFC West. So, I mean, that's a positive thing. I know how they are. They're not going to rest on that. But it is exciting for them to get a taste, especially the new guys that haven't had that experience. So, again, proud of the whole situation there. But anyways, time's yours.
There's a little different type of satisfaction in this since it's been a bit of a grind to get to this point.
Yeah, I think that's a positive. I mean, everybody's been so positive through it and supporting each other. I mean, you've seen it on the sidelines, guys supporting each other. The want to by Chris Jones, by Patrick, by Kels. I mean, and then the guys follow them. And when they bring that energy like they do every week, I mean, guys believe that it's going to get changed, and so that allows me to stand up here and tell you that we're about that close, and every week, and so it's just a matter of getting some things figured out, and this is what happens. They keep pounding, and it was great. Yeah.
What kind of boost did Isaiah Pacheco have for you?
Yeah, I should have mentioned Isaiah. A lot of energy. I look at Pacheco, I look at Snead. I mean, these guys kind of came off the bed to play, and they did a heck of a job with it. And Pacheco brought great energy, ran hard, aggressive, wanted it more, and we had some young backups behind him that had a chance to get in the game too. So that was good.
Andy, one of the things you talked about last week was the mechanics weren't all that great. You had a few little mistakes. You guys came out, the script worked really nicely. You got down the field and scored. How satisfying was that to get going on that right foot early?
Yeah, it's always good to start fast. That's a positive. You want to do that every week. So, but the guys, they executed well, and that's the most important thing right now. This time of the year, that's the most important thing. We're kind of iron some things out there and make sure that we come out. Like I said, our coordinators, Spags and Nags, had great game plans. They tapered it to the guys, and then that was the results there.
Coach, how nice was it to be able to make some plays downfield in the passing game?
Yeah, that's positive. You want to do that. It cuts down on those long drives, right? So you get a couple positive shots down the field. That's big. Rice had one. Watson had one. Those are Pacheco had the runs. So those are all, that's all good stuff.
Andy, understanding this is all new right now, but looks like next week's game is going to be kind of meaningless. I just kind of wanted to get your initial thoughts on how you might handle next week's game in terms of Pat, Kelsey, some of the other guys.
I haven't gotten there yet. You were right.
Andy, could you just go through Rashid's big play, your longest play of the year?
Yeah, so they press coverage, single safety middle. He won that battle. Pat laid it out there beautifully. Rashid went and got it. Told me he's a scorer, though, right? He did a great job with it, though. That was strong. Just physically strong move that he made. Impressive.
Coach, congratulations on the 8th straight title. Knowing that the defense has been playing superb, it's been bending the way the offense has been performing over the last couple of weeks, and Harrison Buck obviously with the 6 field goals. You still concerned about not being able to punch the ball in, into the end zone, to where you're not putting the defense in a bad situation?
Yeah, but listen, I mean, that happens, and we'll work through all that. I'm not worried about that right now. Yeah.
And you may have already sort of said this in your first answer, but if this is a little later in the season than you might have gathered momentum in the past.
Sure.
I wonder if that got into your message to the team a little bit about the feeling of a reset from this or anything like that yet, if you want to get across the game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the guys were excited. That's you don't want to. I don't need to say much. They understand, and like I said, I've got leaders that have been through this before, and they enjoyed it. But at the same time they're going to want more. But they were excited to answer your question. I didn't need to say a whole lot.
Last one.
Coach, you talked about having small ears the other day with a lot of talking going back and forth. Got a little salty there in the second quarter, but you guys did a pretty good job of keeping your composure, especially in the second half. How important was that for you guys to do that part of it?
Yeah, listen, I think these two teams like to play each other and compete, and that's what I saw. And there's going to be some chippy things that go on. I mean, that's just part of the nature of the game. And but it was great for the fans to watch. It was great for coaches to stand on the sideline to watch. That's a great competition, and you want to make sure that you don't do anything stupid. So you just want to, where you get flagged on it. But that's but at the same time, things are going to happen. The emotion, it's an emotional game. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, good. Happy New Year, too.
Clark is going to
First of all, I want to congratulate Andy, his staff, and the team on winning the AFC West. Incredible accomplishment to do it 8 straight years. It was a great victory today, an all-around great performance by the team. Special teams, defense, offense, all phases played great. While we're excited about it, it's only the first of our goals, and we've got a lot in front of us from here.
Clark, I know it's not like you're taking any of these things for granted, but I wonder this year the road here was a little different these last few weeks, and do you think that is a different sort of testimony to what this team has, or what does it mean to you this way?
Well, I think it says a lot about Coach Reed and his staff. There definitely was some adversity this year. Every year is different, and we've had adversity in some of the other years where we've won the West as well. I do think that adversity can be beneficial by the time you get to the playoffs, because the playoffs are never going to be easy. So I think it speaks to the character of the team, and that'll benefit us going forward.
You ever find yourself feeling frustrated along the way? I know it's got to be emotional for you with all the ups and downs, and how do you navigate that when you're watching and it doesn't go off to a fast start?
Yeah, well, when you've been cheering the Chiefs on for 50-plus years, there are a lot of roller coasters over the years. It's obviously been very positive for the last decade or so. Certainly you feel the frustration when things aren't going your way, but that's part of sports. That's part of the National Football League. There are a lot of good teams. Credit the Bengals today for coming out and playing a really good game and competing against us. And again, I'm just proud of our guys for overcoming the adversity and getting the win.
What does it mean, just looking back to hiring Andy? You guys were 7 behind the rest of the pack in division titles, and now you stand alone. Just in the prism of that, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, well, I think it's a testament to Coach Reed and his staff, and he's going to go down as one of the greatest head coaches in the National Football League. We now have won the West 16 times, which is the tops among the AFC teams, and those are the 4 teams that go all the way back to 1960, and so great that we're number 1 in that category. And again, I'd give Andy all the credit for that.
We'll go 3 more.
You spoke to the adversity, and from the outside, this streak looks like it has been so easy, so the expectations are so high. Was there a point during the season where, maybe the adversity that this team was going to face, just maybe because of the youth and some of the changes, was going to be maybe more extreme than maybe was expected or that you've experienced in the past?
Yeah, I think in recent years, we've come to expect that the path is going to be pretty easy to winning the AFC title. And it never is, right? And I find that personally, I tend to forget how hard certain seasons have been. You sort of block out the tough parts of those seasons and only think about the victories and winning the AFC West and then getting that Lamar Hunt trophy. So there'll be a time to reflect on this season and look at the challenges, but I would say it's just part of the National Football League.
We don't get a chance to talk to you all the time, so I got to take a time here to ask you about the stadium. Has anything changed on your guys' end? Are you guys still, this is where you want to be? happening there?
Yeah, nothing's changed from our perspective. We're still focused on Arrowhead. We believe it's one of the best stadiums in the National Football League, and we hope to make it our home for at least another 25 years.
Last one, Neil. Mr. Hunt, I was down at the Cotton Bowl, and a contemporary of your dad who served on the Cotton Bowl committee came up, and he found it was with Kansas City. He said, every time they win something, it makes me think of how much Lamar would have enjoyed it. What would this run have meant to your dad?
Yeah. Well, nobody was a bigger Chiefs fan than my dad. That included the tough years as well as the good years. But he would have so enjoyed this past decade of Chiefs football. I wish that he was here to enjoy it, because he would love this. He would love it particularly for our fans. He was always about the fans, and he knows how much the organization means to them, and vice versa, how much they mean to us.
All right, thank you.
Chiefs get their 8th consecutive AFC West title, in many ways due to this guy. As Rashee Rice joins us now, the rookie. Let's go to your 67-yard catch. It's the longest play the Chiefs have had this year. Walk us through that play.
So basically, I was looking at the safeties. It was one safety high, and I also was looking at the corner's leverage. He was outside leverage. I seen that the safety was too far. Even if I did run an inside route, he wouldn't have been able to get to it. So he was on the opposite hash, and I knew I had room to work an inside release fade and be able to restack the corner. And, I mean, that play went from there.
Yeah, but let's talk about it. What about when you saw it pop open? What's going through your heart, mind, and soul?
To be honest, I seen the ball in the air, and I'm like, my eyes got big. And then, it's a lot of light in the stadium. I was just like, just don't lose this ball through the light. So the ball finally got through the light, and I just watched all the way in to the catch, watched all the way in my hands. And I was like, no, it's a race to the finish line now.
Were you thinking about scoring there?
Oh, yeah, I definitely was trying. I ain't gonna lie. I was trying for sure.
In the first half, just one catch for 18. Then you exploded in the second half. What was able to open up, not just for you, but for some of the other bigger plays in that game? We finally got chunk plays in this game.
I feel like we just took advantage of them playing in their man defense, and then when we finally, threw the ball deep and took advantage of that, they got into their zone. And when they get in the zone defense, you can't really stop our offense. We play a lot of levels, and we got a lot of skill guys on the field that can get open anytime.
I want to ask you about the offensive line, because those guys seem to come out with an attitude after last week's game.
Yeah, those guys, they knew they had to come out and dominate. All week we preach it starts up front. Even on the defensive side, it starts with the line, and we're gonna be able to follow them guys. And as long as they believed in us, we believed in them.
You're such an outstanding blocker. First of all, you're a tackle breaker too. You love the yak. But when you get Pacheco going like you did in the first half, what does that do to fuel you as a receiver, even as a blocker?
Even as a blocker, it's just to know that my brother has the ball, he's gonna go score. I'm gonna block as hard as I can for him. And just him being able to be explosive and coming out of the backfield makes the defense have to come down, and that's what puts the secondary in the bond against our receivers.
And finally, winning a division title. Now we're going to get ready for the playoffs, right? But to win the division for an 8th straight year and have it be historic, your thoughts on being a part of that in your rookie year when you set the rookie record for receptions and touchdowns?
That's huge. We got a lot more, coming down the line of the season. This is just one of our milestones that we were looking forward to. Like I said, we got a lot more this season, and we're going to keep balling. It's huge to be a part of it. Got a lot of vets around me. I'm happy to be able to play with those guys and happy to make an impact on this year.
Rashee Rice, outstanding, and he's just getting started, everybody, and he is an AFC West champion.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. You could just feel the intensity and the look in each other's eyes. Just give each other that look, and everybody's on time, and you could tell we got to go, and we're trying to go get it.
Isaiah, take us through the last week. How were you feeling, and when did you know you were going to play today?
Last week was a little bit different. Concussion protocols had me 5 days out, had step-by-step, 5 steps. Saturday I got cleared, was the last step, so I had 1 day of practice, which was Friday. So it's been a tough week for me, just installing, writing, detailing my notes and make sure I'm ready to go on game day. So, like I said, taking my time and locking in on notes and just lean on my brothers and know that we need each other.
Isaiah, can you sometimes feel energy change around you after one of those runs or just one of those plays where you're still sort of surging through it?
I'm not really sure if I feel it. Just going out there and leaving it all on the field and bringing one another along. Just when I know my teammates there to pick me up, I know we're rolling.
Mid-season surgery is unique. Just how are you feeling when it comes to your shoulder and moving forward?
I'm feeling great. Great training staff we have here. I'm thankful to them, Julie and Glove, and everybody in there. Just taking care of me. Just making sure I'm able to go full speed, 100%. And 2 weeks surgery. It's a little bit difficult. You don't expect to play 2 weeks out of surgery, but my story was a little bit different. Nothing was really too much major serious, so I was able to compete. Just Coach Reed took care of me on that last week that I missed 2 games. So now I'm here and just taking it day by day and just believing in.
Isaiah, this was your single game high, 116 yards in your career. Talk about what went into that, just how you got the 116 yards and how you could feel it was carrying momentum.
Yeah, so throughout the whole week, just felt the details and just understanding the scheme, the job, and knowing that Coach has a high expectation for us. So going out there, knowing what you're doing at a high tempo, it will show for your game.
That's good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely special. I mean, it always is, though. I mean, it really is always is. It's cool to win the AFC West, but obviously dealing with some adverse situations over these last few weeks and for guys to respond against a good football team and find a way to win, even when the game wasn't going in our way at the beginning of it. It was special. I told the guys celebrate it, enjoy it. But our goal is obviously to continue to win, so we have to continue to build off this momentum and get ready for the playoffs.
It doesn't solve everything, I assume, but does it give you sort of a tangible feeling of like another accomplishment, a reset that helped you gain some momentum?
Yeah, I thought we did a lot of great things today. Offensively, I thought we did a good job of just letting the game come to us, not trying to force it, not trying to do too much. Obviously, we had the one fumble in the first half, but other than that, I thought guys did a great job, and we got to continue to get better in the red zone. But, I mean, Harrison Bucker, he saved us, man. He knocked through, I think, 6 field goals, and when you have a defense like that shutting the door, man, I mean, that's how you got to win football games.
The performances of Rasheed and Isaiah, both over 100 yards, receiving and rushing. Just talk to those performances today and how they helped you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's guys stepping up and making plays happen. I mean, I thought the offensive line did a tremendous job in the run game, and then obviously Isaiah, when he gets through there, man, he's gone. And so he did a great job. Rasheed made a lot of big plays, especially in the second half. And that's what we're going to need when they have that much attention on Travis. For guys like that, they step up and make plays happen. And like I said, I thought guys just continue with it. They didn't, whenever stuff wasn't going our way, they didn't get down. They just continued with the process, and we were able to find a way to get a win.
Those big plays are a little bit more rare now, just because of the coverages you're seeing. One to Rice, I guess. How good did that feel, and what did you see on that particular play?
Yeah, I think they busted a coverage. I think they were trying to get to 2. And they ended up having 2 guys playing on the same side as far as the safety in the corner. And so I was looking that way to think it possible like a hole shot, and then it just opened wide open. And I thought Rasheed did a great job of catching it and getting vertical. I told him, I'm going to teach him how to get those knees up, man. He's going to get in the end zone next time. But he did a great job, man. And I thought we had a couple other opportunities. And we try to take those shots today and back the defense off. And once you do that, it helps out with all the underneath stuff.
Patrick, you've been in this spot every year since you've been here. Now looking forward for a second, does it feel any different than any other year?
I mean, obviously the season hasn't been. We're not winning this in week 12 or week 13 like we have before. I mean, we had to battle through adversity and find a way to win this game, but it's not over. I mean, we have to continue to get better and better. We understand that. Kind of the motto of this season at the end of it's been a good game and a bad game. So how can we sustain and get stuff going and continue to build off this momentum and get that momentum going into the playoffs? And now, like I said, now you're in the playoffs. It's one game, single elimination, and I think we can go out there and compete with anybody.
Patrick, Rasheed mentioned to me just some different options he had on that deep ball, but noticing that coverage, just wondering what you think about his instincts to spot that before the snap, and then at what point do you know that is where he's going?
Yeah, no, he definitely did. He did a great job recognizing coverage and converting the route and getting down the field. He does a great job of that. I mean, for the most part, I mean, he's pretty correct on reading coverages and not making the same mistake twice. And we ran a play early in the game. The game before, he ran in, and I missed him, and I was talking to him about it. And then we ran another play where he caught it and got vertical and kind of towards the red zone. It was the exact same play. And he did a great job of recognizing the coverage and learning from the previous week. And that's just kind of how he's been all year long. And I think that's why you see him continue to get better and better as the season goes.
Neil?
What's it do for you guys as a team, as an offensive unit, to hit some plays downfield and look like the old Chiefs?
Yeah, I think guys just did a great job of attacking the defense. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's me trusting those guys to go out there and make plays happen, and I put it out there, and guys made a lot of plays happen. So, I mean, that's just going to continue to build trust that I can go and do that, and I think it'll help open Travis up because there's so much attention on him in the middle of the field, and I think if we can show that we can go over the top and hit these deep passes, it'll open up him, and then we can kind of battle off that throughout the rest of the year.
Patrick, there was a report that you guys maybe simplified, kind of went back to basics on offense. And any truth to that? And do you feel like that helped if you did?
Yeah, I think it wasn't. I mean, we still had a lot of the similar plays. I think we just put guys out there and said we're going to run the plays that we know. We're going to let y'all go out there and play fast. And then no thinking, let's just be us. And I think that helped guys play more free today. And then whenever stuff went wrong, we could bounce back quickly. It wasn't like we were like trying to fix it and figure out a different way to do this. It was, hey, we know these plays, we run these plays, and let's let the guys go out there and play fast and use their talent. I thought they did a great job of it.
Patrick, nothing against any of your other backs, but is there just a different energy when Pacheco's in the game?
I think he's a different energy than any other player on the entire team, man. I mean, the way he runs the football, the energy that he comes with, I don't think I've seen. There's like a small number of people that have that much intensity, and when they're running the football, you got like Marshawn Lynch, you got like Marion Barber from my old Cowboys days. I mean, it's that to be able to run that hard all the time and have that much energy, it's a special type of player, and hopefully we'll be able to get Clyde back this next week. And I thought he's playing really good football as well, and so we can let those guys go out there and be them.
Matt, you're locked into the 3 seed. It looks like regardless of what happens next week against the Chargers, you've been in the position of both playing and resting in the final week of the season. Is there some benefit to you of being able to get some rest if that's the way it works out?
I didn't know that, but I kind of just let Coach Reed make all those decisions, and then I roll. So if he wants us to get out there and kind of build off this momentum that we have, I'll be ready to go. And if he wants to give us some rest, then I'll get that rest, prepare for whoever we're going to play, and be ready to go in the playoffs.
Last two. You mentioned teaching Rashid to get his knees up. He has some separation on the DB. Is he faster than you notice sometimes?
No, he's fast. I think people don't understand that because we haven't been able to utilize him downfield as much as we wanted to. But he definitely is fast. He's explosive. I told him he's in Dallas in the offseason. He's going to work out with me. I'm going to teach him how to get the knees up so he can build as he goes. He's very explosive in those first, through a 40. But if we're going to get 80-yard touchdowns, man, we got to get those knees up and get down the field.
Last one, man. Patrick, much of this season has been about the consistency of the defense. I just wonder from your perspective, how does the defense sort of motivate and inspire you when things aren't necessarily going as smooth on offense as perhaps you would hope?
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, I thought I let the defense down last week. I mean, they played their tail off, and I think everybody knows that. But the 2 turnovers that were 14 points. I mean, that changed the entire game, obviously, but I thought I just let the defense down. And so this week, I tried to do a great job. Obviously, we had the fumble. I tried to do a great job of just, when it wasn't there deep, get it to underneath guys, try to get the first downs. If not, we can punt, man. Like, I know it's not how I've always rolled, but we can punt. The defense get us the ball back, and we're going to find ways to win football games. And so I think if we execute in the red zone, we can put up more points than we did today. But other than that, man, I mean, it's true. It's a different feel. It's different, man, to have this good of a defense that shuts the door on some great offensive players. And so it's going to keep us in every single game. And it's going to be on the offense to go out there and score enough points to win them.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Probably the last one. It's always tough when, you make a field goal, you're excited about it, and then it's a quick turnaround and you're up again. And I do have a routine I like to go through. So sometimes it's shorter than I would like it. In that last kick, you have to get ready really fast. But also going that direction was pretty difficult. The other direction was a lot easier. So those last 2 were probably the hardest kicks.
Have you ever outscored another team just by yourself?
I don't know. I've had 5 field goals before. 6 was the first time. But yeah, it might be the first time.
Not even in college, high school, or anything?
College, we ran the triple option, so not a lot of field goals. Yeah.
We saw you bang a couple of 60-yarders in warm-ups. Did it change much when you tried that 50-plus yard?
We made a 63 in warm-up. I hit a 57 maybe off the crossbar in warm-up, and I didn't really swing that hard. So, for the 54-yarder, I knew I don't have to swing too hard and should be able to make it. Again, the wind was going in that direction, so as long as it was on target, it was going to have the distance.
What goes into the middle and physical approach of having to do more field goals than you're normally used to?
Going into any game, I say, okay, there's going to be 10 possessions and there's going to be an extra point or field goal every possession. So I get my mind ready for a lot of kicks, whether, you get that many kicks or not. But you just got to stay ready and stay locked in. I know it's easy, or it's been easy for me in the past. You make a couple field goals and you just relax, like, oh, I've had a good game. I probably won't get any more. But I thought I did a good job this game, just staying locked in, focused for any opportunity that came.
Harrison, it looks a little bit
for 13 weeks, and then this one in New England, this one on Christmas Day. Did your confidence get shaken at all? And did you? How good does it feel to get 6 today and kind of exercise those demons?
Yeah, it felt great. You make 13 in a row and you feel on top of the world. You feel like you're in a great rhythm, and then you miss a makeable, easy kick in New England, and then another makeable kick. I'm sure you could see with my emotions that kick I missed last week against Vegas. Those are just gimme kicks that unfortunately, you missed, but I really pray for God's will to be done on every kick. So sometimes when those happen, just, all right, God, you wanted me to miss that for some reason. And then even today, especially those last two, I don't know how those went in, but they did. And, I worked very hard, but when you get to that opportunity, when you're in front of, 80,000 fans, you're playing in front of a big national, international audience, you go out there and the kick happens in 1.3 seconds. It just happens so fast, and I'm grateful for the successes and also grateful for the misses and the losses. But I'm just thankful to be in this position and for the kicks to be going through it. To make 6 kicks, it's just amazing. Not me, God take care of it.
Take us through the experience that you had at Arrowhead Stadium, because I was watching during pregame up in the press box. It looks like the wind's blowing the other way. Things, and you're telling me you're kicking it better that direction. How much time does it take you to get the stadium and understand how it's going to?
I don't know if every stadium is like this, but normally whatever direction the wind's blowing, when you're inside the stadium, it's going to be the opposite. So if it's a north wind, then in the stadium it's probably going to be a south wind. So I have an app that I can look at the wind just mainly to see how intense the wind is, how big are the gusts. But when you go out there, you figure out the direction it's going. I really don't look at those flags that are on the top of the stadium. I just look at the flags that are on the field goal post. But that Vegas game, it's tough because it's wet, and the flags on top of the field goal posts are stuck to the uprights, and it was like that for the Eagles game as well. So it's a little difficult to read the wind when you don't have those flags to look at. But the biggest thing I also look at with that wind app is if the wind's consistent the whole time, because if you're going to have a certain wind for warm-up, maybe north wind, and then it switches to an east wind during first half and then a west wind during second half, you definitely need to know that because, sometimes you're on the sideline for a whole quarter and a half, and then you go out there, and if the wind's different than what you expected, you don't really want to have those emotions right before a kick. You want to know what your plan is going into it.
Harrison, it's not every game that the coach and the guys celebrate the kicker in the locker room in the way that they did. Just what does it do for you, knowing it is a team sport?
It feels great. I don't have, as a kicker, you're only given as many opportunities as the team provides, and hopefully you're ready for those. James and Tommy have been doing a great job. We've been grinding in practice and throughout the season, and when we do have our numbers called, we need to show up and do our job. And when you have 6 field goals, it's hard not to see that was an important part of the game and put points on the board. But it's definitely a team effort with great snaps, great holds, great blocking, and God helping those footballs go through the uprights.
Let's finish out 4 more. So go ahead, Brent.
Harrison, just given the adversity of recent weeks, what did it mean to walk in that locker room, be able to exhale a little bit and celebrate the first goal you guys have in many this season?
Yeah, it felt great. We've faced a lot of adversity, more losses this season than we have in the past. I think this is probably the most losses we've had since maybe 2017 or so. And so in the past, we've been rolling, winning a lot of games. But I think adversity is super important. I don't know if it was 2020, I felt like we didn't have a lot of, adversity, maybe not as much as like that 2019 team. But I just think it's very important to know how do we handle losing, how do we respond when we're down. And obviously as a kicker, I'm kind of just seeing it from the sideline, seeing how the guys compete in practice and attack the game. For me, I'm trying to be as much as a robot as I can because my competition's the wind and, the surface. It's not really my competition. And I try not to have as many of those ups and downs. It's really those internal ups and downs. I can control if I make or miss it based on technique or my plan. But it's been really cool to watch the team come together. how they approach a week after a loss like last week, and obviously to have whatever song they were playing at the end when all the guys were dancing on the sideline and it was a long third or fourth down, whatever that was, and all of Arrowhead was screaming and yelling. That's amazing. Those are memories you're always going to have. Those are the good memories that we are so accustomed to, and you can't ever take winning for granted, and getting a division win 8 years in a row, 7 years for myself is amazing.
When you have milestone games like this, is there a memory back when you were at Westminster, they pull you off the soccer team, and was there a sign from God that told you that something like this could be in your future?
You know, I didn't start kicking, like you said, till the spring of my sophomore year. As a kicker, how many other kickers are at a school with you? You know, there might be one other kicker. So you don't really know like how good you are. And even when you play another team, they might only have one kicker. It's hard to gauge. And I went to a kicking camp and that had hundreds of people and I got ranked really high. But still, even when you're ranked high, you turn on the television, you see D1 kickers and NFL kickers, and they're hitting the ball super high, and it looks perfect, and you just think, man, I can never do that. You know, those guys are just in another realm. And even throughout college, I never thought I'd be an NFL kicker. It wasn't until my senior year I did decent, and I got an NFL combine invite, which really surprised me. And I did all right at the combine, but I feel like I've always I don't know if I sell myself short, but even now being in the NFL, I look at guys like McPherson. I just think, wow, what a beautiful ball that he can kick, and he's such a great kicker. And I watch around the league. There's just so many talented people, and like I was talking about God, so many times I go out there, I'm like, I should not be out here. I don't know how this ball is going through. I don't know how I'm making kicks, but it's a blessing. And I normally get emotional, normally the national anthem, just to be on that stage. Who would have ever thought? I never thought I would be in that situation, but God's got me there, and I'm enjoying it for however long he's got me here.
I know you don't pay a ton of attention to things like this, but you go 6 for 6 tonight. Koo in Atlanta missed a couple of kicks today, so you were back to number 2 as the second most accurate field goal kicker all time. That's exactly where you were before the injury last year. Does it kind of feel like you're full circle past that now, and you kind of resumed everything that you were right before that?
Yeah, I try not to focus on those stats that much, but it is a big stat, and that's probably how you gauge how good kickers are. What is their career field goal percentage? I didn't know Koo missed. I didn't know I'm second now, but I feel healthy. I feel back to my old self. I mean, last year was tough. You feel like an old man. Like I'm only 27 and I'm out here just not feeling like myself at all. So it's great to kind of have a year that I feel like reflects who I am as a kicker, in my entirety. But when you play, you got to work through injuries, and everybody in their career has injuries. And I'm sure the greats that are in the Hall of Fame, those are athletes that know how to handle and move through injuries. We're all going to have them. So I thought I did a decent job last year, but it's nice to have a year that feels like, the years I've had in the past.
I'm just curious, do you have a wind direction that you prefer and a wind direction that you really don't like in this stadium?
It's not necessarily unique to this stadium, but I would say I have a hook on my ball. So a left to right wind is great. I think that straightens out the ball. And then obviously you want wind at your back and not wind in your face. But as a punter, I think some punters would maybe say they like a slight wind in their face because it actually adds a little bit more hang time to their punts. But if I'm not indoors, I'd prefer a wind at the back, and then if there's any directional wind, left to right. But you have some kickers that their miss is a slice, and they prefer a right to left wind and not a left to right wind.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it, Harrison. Happy New Year.
Again, the Chiefs win the AFC West for an 8th straight year, but there's more to that. We'll get to that in a second, but let's talk defense here. The Bengals had an opportunity to go up 24-13 or get a field goal and go back to a 20-13 lead. 4th and 1, they decide to go for it. What about Willie Gay Jr.'s stop of Joe Mixon to hold the Bengals on downs at the 6-yard line?
It's one of those hidden plays that you won't really think about too much because it wasn't in the 4th quarter or anything like that. But that play really swung the tide of the game, I think, because you're right. It was 4th and 1. It was the Bengals' first drive of the second half. They're driving down the field. They just got a huge pass interference penalty on 3rd down, like a 30-yard penalty, right? They're at the Chiefs' 6-yard line. And yeah, if they score a touchdown, they're going to go up 11 points. And all of a sudden, the Chiefs are playing from behind once again, playing from behind double digits. digits. Well, Willie Gay blows through the line, tackles Joe Mixon, and the Chiefs get the football back. I believe they go down and kick a field goal. Enormous play there for the Chiefs. And think about this defense. I mean, Cincinnati scored 17 points across its first 3 possessions. They had 0 points on their final 7 drives, just 124 net yards on those 7 possessions, and that was maybe the biggest play defensively for the Chiefs until maybe the very end.
And let's break it down even further. Cincinnati's offense, the first 3 possessions, field goal, touchdown, touchdown. Now, they had a short field on one of them, just a 24-yard touchdown drive on a sack, strip, fumble recovery. That was 33 plays, 159 yards, 12 first downs. And then you mentioned the second half as Derek Nottie walks by, man. Steady Eddie, Derek Nottie. But the first downs were in this game, the Bengals were 7 of their first 9 in conversions. They only converted 1 in the second half. And it was just enormous how this game spun in 360, and the Chiefs defense, what they have done all season long, flipped the game in the second half.
And how about the adjustments made by the Chiefs defense and Steve Spagnuolo? Because it's something that we talked about on Field Pass prior to the game. That screen game was really working for the Bengals early on, where Jake Browning dumps a little quick 2-yard pass to Joe Mixon or Chase Brown or whoever it may be, a tight end maybe, and then they break off a 10 or 15-yard run. That really hurt the Chiefs early in the game. You really didn't see that in the second half, though, because of the adjustments the Chiefs defense made. It was spectacular.
And 6 sacks by the defense in this game, 4 on the last possession. And here's the third down breakdown. In the first half, Cincy 7 of 9. In the second half, 1 of 7. Give Jake Browning credit, man. That guy fights. But the Chiefs were relentless in just destroying him in the last, or in the fourth quarter.
Well, with about 3 minutes left, they put the Swag Surfing song on, and the D-line was losing their minds, and they used that energy to get after Jake Browning. How about the final Bengal drive? Justin Reed had 2 sacks all by himself. George Karlaftis had a sack. Chris Jones had a sack. And on their penultimate drive a few minutes prior, Charles Omenihu with a gigantic play to bring down Jake Browning. This defensive line in the very end, just like the AFC Championship game, won this game for the Chiefs.
Now, let's just lay out what this means. So it appears the Chiefs are locked in at the 3. But what this game means, we'll talk about that tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
What this game means, we know 8 straight division titles. But you know, this is one of my favorite stats because the late Lamar Hunt wanted to keep the old AFL together as much as possible. In 2002, when the Houston Texans came into being, 8 divisions of 4. Well, who's going to be in the Chiefs division? Lamar Hunt wanted to keep the old AFL together. So the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders have all been together with the Chiefs since 1960. The Broncos have won 15 titles. The Raiders have won 15 titles. The Chargers have won 15 titles. The Chiefs have won 16 titles. They take the lead. It was awesome.
It is so awesome. We cannot take this for granted. I get the standard in Kansas City now is winning Super Bowls and getting to the Super Bowl, but this is the first step every single year. And to win 8 consecutive division titles does not happen in the NFL, a league that is built on parity. Enjoy this, Chiefs Kingdom. It's a pretty remarkable thing.
You get an awesome New Year's Eve, but it's also 9 straight playoff appearances. That's the longest active streak in the National Football League, and that is second in NFL history as well. And then you look at double-digit victories. The Chiefs are now 10-6 going into the last week of the season against the Chargers. But double-digit victories now in succession for Andy Reid. It's the 18th time. Only Belichick and Shula are ahead of him. And to do it consecutively, only Belichick is ahead of Andy Reid. Phenomenal what was done on this night to check all those boxes.
And winning is one thing, but to win in resilient fashion is another. And for this Chiefs team, it's been a struggle in the month of December to say, no, we're winning this division here today against a Bengals squad that was fighting for their playoff lives. We eliminated the Bengals here tonight. They were playing for everything on the line, and the Chiefs found a way here in this game. That's why they are one of the best teams in the NFL over the last 10 years, and this team is so special. Now let's see what happens in the playoffs.
Yep. Tomorrow, we'll attack the final week of the season and get ready for the playoffs. Tonight, you need to celebrate all those things we just laid out and have a great New Year's Eve. He is Matt McMullen. He is the senior team reporter. I'm Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs. The Chiefs are AFC West champions for an NFL second place in division dominance in history, again for an 8th consecutive year.
Chiefs Rewind is brought to you by Ford, the official car and truck of the Kansas City Chiefs, and by CommunityAmerica Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.